Okay. Check sound. Welcome to my first story time video. It honestly took a while to get an idea of what kind of story I wanted to do, because I actually kind of have a pretty boring life that's uneventful as heck, because I don't like going outside unless it's camping. I like camping and off-roading. So, speaking of camping and off-roading, that's what this story time is about. So, for some context, my family goes on this yearly camping trip. It's like a family reunion, but 1,000 times better because we barbecue and we go four-wheeling on some dunes. Yeah. And we campfire and s'mores. It's a family affair. It's awesome. Now, normally these camping trips go off without a hitch, but this time it wasn't. There's like a lot of accidents. There was nearly a fight. Just weird. Normally we don't have those. Just bad trip in general, but there was one part of this trip that weirded me out the most, and it was about this girl. I don't remember her name, and I won't say it, but I will call her Notch, because Minecraft and creepers, and yeah. And everyone who talked to Notch was weirded out. And we're talking, my family's weird. But, Notch had a feeling of, something's not right. And Notch was from a different campsite, and she came over because she saw we had a lot of kids at our campsite, and some were her age, and, you know, family trips can be interesting. Now, how I met her, she came up to me and asked me for a hug because everyone said if she wanted a hug, it was best to come ask me, and I was weirded out, but I gave her one anyway, and I regret this because it started this long weirdness, and everything started going downhill with this. So I went back to my campsite, and yes, Notch followed me. And she saw me grab my sketchbook because I was gonna go sketch, and I went over to the fire and I sat down and I started sketching. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sketch too," and she pulled out her sketchbook and started drawing and whatnot. So we're both drawing, and she asked me to see mine. And I'm just doing concept sketches because I was working on a character. I'm still working on said character. I'm like, yeah, sure, and I showed her, and they were just like derpy sketches of just like eyes patterns, some tattoo patterns, because the character had tattoos, some necklace designs, some like body sketches, just general stuff and junk. Now, Notch was normalish at first. She was like, "Oh, I can't draw as good as you. I shouldn't draw anymore." Blah blah. I'm just like, "Oh my god." I was just like, "Oh my god, I cannot deal with this today. I'm not in the mood." So I was like, "Yeah, you can draw. No one's stopping you. Just draw what you want." She's like, "Okay, okay." And she started talking about a kid in our campsite, and I'm gonna call this kid Chad. Chad was an asshole who thought he knew everything, but he really didn't. And it was like, whatever. Um, and she started gushing and calling him cute and how she wanted to like date him or whatnot, whatever. I don't freaking remember fully, but it was just weird. And double weird considering he was from my campsite and I was dating, I'm still dating that same person that I was dating then. And I'm just like, uh, I'm sitting there dying inside. And then she asked me if I think Chad is cute. And I reply with, no, my boyfriend is cuter. Yeah. And she kind of like gave me that look of, how dare you? Which is kind of funny. Like, how dare you say so and so is cuter than this guy I've barely talked to other than like a few days, even though I was friends with the guy I'm dating for a while. And whatever. So eventually it got off of Chad, and we somehow got into the topic of YouTubers. And before I was like, yeah, it's weird how she's like gushing to me about my campsite friend. And then she starts talking about YouTubers. And I'm like, oh yeah, YouTube, something I actually know about and care about. And then she starts talking about gaming YouTubers. I was like, oh, okay. And I asked her about Markiplier. She's like, oh, my mom doesn't let me watch Markiplier because X, Y reason, whatever. Um, Something about language, but I have a feeling it was just because she was getting way too creepy about it, because, God, I feel so bad for the one that her mom made was okay with her watching. She told me that she had an equivalent to a shrine for this YouTuber and put pictures, like, you know how, like, stereotypical stalkers will, like, cut out pictures of their face and put it next to the YouTuber's face or whoever they like's face and, like, make it look like they're kissing or whatnot. Yeah, she told me she did that, and I'm like, oh my god. So, yeah, that was fun. And, it got weirder from there because she proceeded to ask me who my favorite YouTuber was, and I replied with my friend, because at that time my friend was an animator and she still is. She still has a channel. I'll put her channel down at the bottom. It's Ice. Um, and I was like, yeah, well, this is my favorite YouTuber. And she was like, oh, what would happen if your favorite YouTuber was here? And I was like, oh, well, I would ask my friend what the hell they were doing here. Because Ice has no reason to be here on our family camping trip at all. Um, so she's like, oh, well, would you like hug them and give them a kiss? No, I'm dating. And this went on until she admitted that if it was her favorite YouTuber, keep in mind this was like a semi-wooded area before you got dunes, so it was like a mix of like sand dunes and woods. It was weird. She said she would take him into the woods and kiss him and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is creepy. And I told her, I'm like, that's a little bit creepy. And she gave me like this look of, how dare you again. I got a lot of these how dare yous looks because I would call her out on shit. Because I didn't know her and I didn't really care at that time. But yet at the same time, I wouldn't leave because I didn't want to subject anyone else to this weirdness. So I was just sitting there like, I'm gonna pretend to draw and hope to God she goes away. And then she keeps gushing about YouTubers and shit and how people think she's creepy and don't want to be her friend. And I'm like, yeah, it happens, yeah, and stuff like that. And, Chad comes over. And the vibe from that fire pit changed. From, yeah, okay, tension to off again. And she was watching him and she moved to sit next to him and was trying to get all lovey-dovey with him. And I'm like, oh my god, I feel so sorry for Chad. Chad is not Chad, his real name. Chads are assholes, stereotypical assholes. So, you know, gotta do the stereotypical asshole thing. Um, so yeah, she also pulled lice out of her hair on multiple occasions and messed with them and then killed them. And she's like, no, I don't want to tell my parents about this because then they would like do la 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 la. I'm just like, oh my god, please kill me. I don't want to deal with this. It's not my problem. And she would gush more about the craziness of her obsession with YouTube gamers, which was unhealthy. Eventually I was able to like get away. Lucky me, I was able to get away. It was weird. Very weird. Yeah. I later found out that she went over to my brother's Odyssey and was messing around about it. It was kind of acting a bit weird and suspicious. And she thought the Odyssey was mine because I had helped my brother move it. I'd like sat in the seat and drove it while they pushed or whatever to get it from point A to point B because it was in the way. And she thought it was mine. Newsflash, it wasn't. But long story short, my brother threatened her with a wrench and told her to get the fuck out of the campsite. I didn't see her for the rest of the camping trip, and I had only found out about that after, and a few weeks after that. It was freaking weird. And apparently everyone had a off feel the entire time she was around. And yeah, that was the most interesting thing I have dealt with. I do hope she grew out of that unhealthy obsession level for people. If she didn't, hopefully she will one day. If she doesn't, God help everybody. But yeah. Thank you so much for listening to my story time about a crazy fangirl and weirdo that came into our campsite. I hope your day